Yeah, in this process of preparing to play Iowa State, every game you play, you're watching a bunch of film of your opponent, and just respectfully, there's two parts to this. There's the part where you're learning and trying to figure out a team and how you beat them, and then there's this part where you're watching a lot of games and you know how good this team is and just how difficult it's going to be. And the more you watch, the more you realize just what a great team Iowa State is. And I mean that with the utmost respect. And TJ and I have known each other a long time, and the way they compete, and Lipsy, I just think he's obviously a historic all Big 12 player, but his fight and his grit, I challenged Jalen Petty before this game, we're going to win if you can match his fight. And I told it in front of the whole team in film, and I mean it. And I thought Jalen Petty's rebound at the beginning of the game with two hands over Monsilovic was unbelievable. Just the fight that it takes to win. I thought we came into this game with the right mentality, and we took care of the ball till we got down to the end, and we had some catastrophic possessions, which I got to do a better job. But, the only way we were able to play this way is because of the respect that we have for Iowa State and just this building and Hilton Magic. And I've played in this building, I've coached in this building as an assistant, and just know how tough it is to win here. And just trying to prepare our guys for playing against a great team is about your competitiveness on every possession, and we were able to do it just enough.
Grant, how would you describe your team's shot making tonight, especially under duress a lot?
Well, guards win, and if you got good guard play in space, then that's kind of the most difficult thing to defend. And when you put pressure on the rim, but you got that threat at the three-point line in space, and we had 6 guys in double figures, so it was everybody. And we played out of the short roll early in the game. We got advantages that way. I thought Luke was tremendous. I thought being able to have Lawan Watts start the game in a ball handling role without them getting pressure at that guard spot really opened the game up for us. And you just got to keep the ball in the middle of the floor against this team. And I thought we had multiple ball handlers where it wasn't we got worn down. We've been worn down. Foul trouble got us in trouble, but really I thought our composure in the middle of the floor, considering the ball pressure they put on you, and two, was the difference. And that's it's not just shot making. It's kind of like how you handle the middle of the floor to get to those shots.
Obviously, losing JT is difficult for you guys, but what, unifying effect can a team having to confront that kind of adversity create, especially late in the season?
Well, let's be honest, it's twofold. I feel like if we had Josiah Mosley and Luke Bomboye early in the season, and Lawan Watts twisted his ankle after we scrimmaged Oklahoma, and he didn't play for 4 weeks plus the first game, I felt like if we had those guys, you're seeing kind of what this team's depth could have been. Josiah Mosley didn't start practicing until January the 28th, I think was the date. That was his first practice from June. And then Luke Bomboye had been out twice with couple different knee things, and we lost him through the whole start, and he came in the middle of the season. So we felt like we had a great team. Just putting those guys out there together was the biggest part. Well, you lose JT, but you don't lose the fight. You gain, actually, this time of year, 3 guys, and Mariel add him into that, where we've got good size, and we actually do have good depth at that position. And we thought those guys would play. We thought Luke would start. And so people are just now getting a chance to see what this team, I think, could have been if we'd have been able to put it all together, add JT to this mix. But this team is – JT is the heart of this team, though. He's the most competitive guy, and in the locker rooms, he's the voice. That's what's awesome. He was the one that was not okay with us losing at Illinois. He tried to carry us in those games. So I'm just so happy for this group because we finally get to see what all those guys are capable of doing now that we get to actually practice together and play games and learn.
What was the preparation like to eventually out-rebound Iowa State, especially when they can hit the offensive glass super hard?
Well, they did late, obviously, and they put us on our heels. But, I think it's about not giving up angles and being underneath them and then shooting and then rebounding as a team. I thought Josiah Mosley was awesome. I thought his energy in this game really, he's one of those guys that has the athleticism and physicality to play in this game, and his 9 rebounds were awesome. But if you look at the whole team, Jalen Petty was the other guy with 9. and he's the smallest guy on the court. You want to talk about heart and fight. So, he accepted the challenge, and then Lawan Watts was 7, and then you sprinkle in a bunch of guys with 3 and 2, and you just love that you get to do it as a team. It's not about one guy, and people want to make it about that, but this is not what we're playing. We're playing a team sport, and it's so much fun to see the competitiveness of this group and how well our guards and team are rebounding together.
Hi, Coach. What's unique about the way Iowa State applies ball pressure, trying to get live ball turnovers, and B, how were you able to handle it so well in the first half to, I think, outscore them in points off turnovers?
Well, one, I thought we did some unorthodox. We just played with Lawan handling a majority of it, and that's where they kind of can get you on your heels early. And what they did that last kind of 10 minutes and during that stretch was what they can do to you early. And so that's where I felt like we flipped it on them, and we put the ball handlers, the defenders that aren't used to applying full court ball pressure, in a position where we kind of inverted it. And then Chris was more freed up to catch it on the second one, and we put a lot of different guys in the middle of the floor so they couldn't get a beat on just one guy. And then they started subbing, and then they started guarding with different lineups, and then they went small, and ultimately just the ability to get back to it. And we were putting a 5-man in ball screens late, or our forward, our bigger guy, and that was not good. And so then we went back to giving space, and that's when Jalen Petty really started loosening the game up, and he's such a dynamic player, and he can score in one-on-one situations. I mean, he's the guy we give the ball to and let him go back somebody up and make shots, and when it kind of got close and it was he really stepped up and made big plays.
I think you're talking about the 2 Petty buckets there with about 7 minutes left after your timeout. How crucial do you think those 2 baskets were in you guys being able to stave off Iowa State's run there?
Yeah, I mean, it's twofold to me. One, it was just we were getting caved in defensively, and Luke Bomboya got a few blocks in that little segment. So it's not just the Petty buckets. It's like the stops and the buckets that I think complement each other. And how about Luke's ability to come up with a few of those when they had angles, and Buchanan had pretty good. And Luke just made a heck of a play, and then we rebounded it, and it didn't go their way. And then Petty in space got some baskets. And, I mean, we had 4 guys, I think, with 4 fouls, and then we got a 5th foul with Luke at the very end. But for our guys to play without fouling was a big part of that, because Jalen Petty had 4 fouls, like, late in the game when he was making all those buckets. And to me, it was about what we were doing defensively to keep those guys on the floor without fouling.
I think you guys started the game 3 of 10 from the three-point arc, but you finished the game 14 of 29. What's that say about your guys' team, your team, to just keep shooting despite it not falling early?
Well, what I'll tell you about those shots early, I thought they were great. I mean, I thought we got some good ones. I was surprised we missed a few of them, and I think our guys, we've kind of done this all year long. And now that the ball's moving well and a lot of guys are comfortable touching it, that really helped us in this game. Because when you're doing it, they can tee you up and they know who's involved in the action, then they can really bully you and get you on your heels. But when we have this many guys involved in it, it's hard to. And then that's where Tyree Bryan, I thought in the second half, his 2 threes really lifted us. Because then he's been unbelievable in practice too. I mean, he's a guy that's a senior that's just now finding his way, and he had some injuries and some other things happen during the middle of the season, but he's really been competitive and had the right mentality, and he was a guy I thought that came in and gave us a huge lift when we needed it in the second half also.
Coach, that's where I was going to go with this next question about Tyree Bryan. Those big threes, had that pick 6 right when he got into the game as well. What's that process been like of keeping him, ready and understanding that when there are certain games or he's not doing exactly what you need him to, but getting him to play that best basketball late in the season and keeping him just in a good spot?
This is a credit to our team, and I mean this. Like, those guys love him, and they know that we need him, and those guys wouldn't let him be like, there's a part of this when you don't play well in this league can cripple you. If you can't shoot or you start missing and you're not going to get a night where you're going to see something easier, it gets harder. And I think he hadn't played in this league with this much adversity every night. And he's ramped up and so I think there was a point there where he was looking around going, is this going to work out? And I'm telling you this, Donovan Atwell, Christian Anderson, Lawan Watts, they were not going to let him. They were just like, nope, we need you. So he's been breaking down our huddles as a team for the last, Christian usually does it, and he's been doing it for the last week. And it's fun to hear his voice. You know, he broke us down at the end. He broke us down before we went out. And, like, you can hear he's in the middle of this. So he's no longer – he's not at the outside going, I hope I play. He's, like, in the middle going, like, compete. 1, 2, 3, compete. And, like, that's his heart. He's saying. And at first he did say, like, out loud, it feels weird. I'm like, no, it doesn't. It's awesome, man. And those guys love him. And I can tell you this honestly, these dudes are awesome toward each other. And they really believe in each other. And that's how you win. I mean, as a coach, you can give them some fight. But unless they want to fight for each other, it doesn't work. And these guys really have leaned into this adversity that we're facing and being encouragers to each other. It's awesome to see, man. It's the best part of this.
And then one more. Iowa State and Houston, just with their blitzing defense, something that's tough to simulate in practice, but now, like, this is you already got 2 against Houston and can start to think about stuff like inverting and bringing Watts up, or just Chris's ability to get the ball out of his hands quicker. How many, like, links do you make between Houston and Iowa State and just being able to handle that pressure?
Yeah, I mean, like, this is the toughest league in college basketball. Don't get it twisted. And this league exposes you because of the physicality, athleticism, and grit. Like, there's a real fight to the defense and the collective grit of these teams that we face. And Iowa State, you know, I mean, Arizona, I mean, they have the #1 defense, I think, in the league. And you look at Houston, and I mean, there's just some unbelievable defenses. Kansas was awesome when we played them, and there's some real defenses in this league. And so I think what it does is it just makes you lean on each other. You can't do it alone. And how well you can start, to your point, connecting people in that. And that's what I thought we did well in the first half, was really connect each one of the pieces together, and you have to against a great defense like this. And we came in with the utmost respect, knowing that if we turn the ball over, we might as well fire the bus up and go sit on it, because you don't win in here if you turn the ball over. And we almost did it too many times late, but collectively a lot of guys really played well together.